I was actually really excited about this release. This is the Godox AD600 BM version 2. I'm thinking BM stands for bare minimum. I don't know, but I love the original 600. I thought it was great. There was a couple times I saw a color shift, but it was more when I didn't wait for it to recycle fully. Now, as far as the Pro version 2 versus this one, the Pro version 2 recycles quicker. I'm not a fast shooter in studio. I take my time and shoot, so that's never an issue for me. Freeze mode, yeah, it can freeze stuff, but the original 600 froze dance for me well enough where I was happy with it. This does everything I wanted to do. And the other thing that's missing is the accurate color thing or whatever. This was never too much of an issue for me, even on the original one. Once in a while, if I shot before it recycled fully, I'd get a color shift. Nothing major though. But this one, it has, some of the updated features. It has the color LCD screen. It has these little lights, which, believe it or not, are so useful in studio. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how useful these things are, because I have them on the AD200 Pros, and on this, mixing like this, it's fantastic. I love being able to just look and go, okay, there it is. So, and then I don't know if you ever saw these before, the Godox S series. This is the S120T. The T stands, it's a silver inside. They have an S120W, which is a white inside. I go for the silver all the time because I'm using double diffusion, so it's not going to be an issue. And I still get that little bit of pop, or that little bit of specular for clothing and so forth. And it works great. Honestly, it's a fantastic softbox. This is probably, I don't even know if there's another one on the market, this shallow depth. And, I don't need I can't even believe they use the word parabolic for a softbox, because parabolic is a totally different animal than a softbox. This is all you need for the depth. Now, I'm in a smaller studio, so like these are perfect for the studio because they're not really deep. You take another softbox, it'd be coming out to here, and I'd be wasting all that space, and it drives me crazy. So, for me, for studio light at $549, this is half the price of a Profoto speed light. Sorry, it's true. I don't mean to put down Profoto all the time, because I use them and I have all Profoto gear. I have a ton of it. But, for everyday photographers, for professional photographers, this system is great. It really is. It works. I love the way it works. And I've shot so many great photos with the Godox 600 series flashes, and the originals, they'll beat on ones. And the other thing is, they just never died on me. Like, I never had an issue with it. So I want to push this a little bit today and see how it does. But I'm going to shut up now and get to the shoot. Okay, so I'm loving this flash, by the way, before I say anything else. Now, as a reminder, in the members area, there is the full extended version of this, which we go into more of the lighting technique and the posing technique and so forth. But that's already up. If you're a member, you can go watch that one versus this one. Now, the AD600 BM Mark II is an absolute winner for me. This is the very first time I'm shooting this upgraded version. I didn't really need to test this over and over, because I've had the 600, the original 600, for, I can't even tell you how many years now. I think it's been 10 years. I don't know how long it's been out for. I got it for maybe, 6 months after it came out. I really loved it. But, with this one, and I don't show these very often on this channel, because I'm showing all these different options that you have in all the different lighting, because a lot of people don't need big lights like this. Now, I always say have this one big light, because it gives you so many options in studio. Again, 90% of the stuff I shoot, I can get away with a 200. But for the ease and joy of this type photography, studio photography, or even location photography, that 600 watts with a larger softbox really makes life so easy for you. And these little fine adjustments you'll see me making throughout this shoot. By the way, I'm just switching over. I was started with the 135, the Sony 135. I'm switching over to the 50 1.4. I love that lens, by the way. That 50 1.4 is Absolutely an incredible lens. Don't get me wrong. I've used the 51.2. I've owned it, but I like the 51.4 better. Um, it's lighter. It's a touch smaller. I don't know. It just works better for me, but it's a great lens. Anyway, getting back to the light now. So the S120T, the S series, whether it's the T silver or W white, that's a preference that's completely, up to you. I can't say one's better than the other. The white does get you a touch softer look, but because I'm using the inner baffle and the outer diffusion, um, I'm still getting a great soft look, but I get just a touch more specular highlight with this. What's great about the silver is if I take that inner baffle out and use it, yes, I'm going to get a tiny, a little bit of a hot spot, but I get that specular highlight still with the diffused look for clothing and so forth. That's why I always choose the silver. Now, the 120, a lot of times people wouldn't take something this big for even for smaller studios, but you have to remember the depth of this is a lot smaller than a normal softbox these days because everybody wants the parabolic. And again, parabolic is a different animal. This is going to give me full coverage and soft light no matter what anybody says to you. The difference are so minimal with the depth that it will not make a difference. And you'll see throughout this shoot, I can get great soft light, controllable light, and I'm not even using a grid yet on this thing. And again, the softboxes they're good quality. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them down, but they're not like the best quality you can get, which is a heavier material, better bars and or poles inside, that kind of stuff. But this is fine. You'll use it for years and years. You won't have an issue with it. But I just wanted to be transparent about that. They work and take care of them. They'll last you a long, long time. And I do love the open mechanism because it is like an umbrella. You just push it down and it just works. And they also extended the pole inside, which you'll get, you'll understand while I'm saying this, but they extended the pole so it's easier to lock in. The older ones with the, little short nub inside, it was hard to like line them up and screw them in. With this one, it's, it just takes seconds because of that extended pole. Little things like that make these things great. As far as the AD600 BM Mark II, it worked flawlessly throughout the shoot. There was no issues with it whatsoever. I had no color shifts. I never ran into a problem with recycle. I'm probably shooting in between 1/4 and 1/2 power because I wanted to push this a little bit. I didn't shoot it at full power, I don't think once. But I did go up to a 1/2 power a couple times because I wanted to stop down the lens even more. But it was flawless. So don't stress over that. And the differences between the Pro Mark II versus this one, I'm not going to go over them again, but I don't use any of that stuff on the Pro Mark II that would make a difference for me in studio. And when I shoot dance, the 600, the regular 600 without the freeze mode always worked perfectly for me for exactly what I wanted. So I'm not going to freeze water droplets or something like that with this flash. So I really just don't need that. Color accuracy mode, again, I didn't have any color shifts with this. So, how much more is it going to give me? That being said, it's up to you. But I wanted to save the extra $350. Here's one without the strobe. You can see a tiny little bit of light coming in. This is, with the backlights and the main light. I didn't like the look of the backdrop. I love this backdrop, but it's kind of blah to me when you light it completely like that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that light a little closer to her and feather it more so the light falls off a lot quicker on the backdrop. And it's going to give me what I really love about this backdrop, and that's this look. That deeper tone, the deeper colors for me are what I love. Now, a lot of people ask, why don't you just get a darker tone? Because I don't have those subtle differences, with some of the light coming through. It adds dimension to the backdrop rather than it just being a flat one color, one tone thing. So if I go with a little bit lighter and then just use my lighting to darken it, it works so much better for me. And I can create all different types of looks with that backdrop versus just one if it was darker or, straight up light. And you notice that, when I'm using a white backdrop, I always had the light further away, except for this one because I wanted to carve out her face. So, when that light's closer, and I don't do it as close as most people do it, but when it's closer, you can see that I can create contrast and shadows, even though it's that big of a light source. It's just subtle movements with her that's going to make the difference, and with the light. Light placement and her placement is everything for that. But you can do a lot with this type backdrop. And I think this is one of the Pantone colors this year. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But and again, the 120 softbox, even though it's a bigger softbox, that narrower body is going to, it allows you to, have it in smaller spaces. Because remember, this studio really is a small studio. I may be 20 feet wide here, but I have so much stuff on either side of it. It takes it down to like a 15-foot by a 15-foot shooting area, because it's a small space. The video always makes it look bigger. Now that rim light that I'm using, which is that stick light, I'm so impressed with that. Rather than using a big strip box and taking up all that space, because I wouldn't be able to do it in the studio, I thought, hey, I'm going to try the what is it, the R200 stick light, that goes on the 8200. I loved it. I love the quality of light that it's given me, and I love the rim light that's given me, because I'm getting, top of the head to the skirt down, even down to her legs. It's given me a great spread of light and controllable with those barn doors. I loved the quality of that. Now, getting into the last outfit here, I'm going to actually light up that backdrop just a little bit more, because it's a lighter outfit. And you can see it's another tone, but it's not like that straight look that you're getting with the video. You can see the actual color of this thing. But, just moving that light just a little closer and feathering it just a little differently, I can pull out just a little bit more of the backdrop and, have it match the outfit just a little bit better. Because I think if it was that dark, it would just be a little bit too contrasty and take away from this outfit. And I really wanted to show the outfit itself, the texture, the material, and the look of it. So, I'm trying to, make sure I concentrate on the outfit versus my photography or my lighting. And that V100, by the way, lasted perfectly and did a great job throughout this whole shoot. That thing was probably at 1/64th power to 1/16th power, depending on the distance, and how much light I wanted on it. But, with a little grid, it did a great job. And, you could use it for a full rim light, but it would have to be back further. And I'm using a 20-degree grid on here, so I get a decent coverage, but it wouldn't be a head to toe. It would be probably a 3/4 when it's set back. But the stick light is giving me full coverage, and I raised it up and just pointed it down just a little bit to get the top of her head as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this shoot. This was a lot of fun. Again, that AD600 BM Mark II, for those that don't need all the bells and whistles, again, because I just don't use them. The biggest thing that's missing is the TTL, and the handle, And somebody was bitching about the ratchet that it has versus the smooth that the Pro has. I don't have a problem with the ratchet. Like if you're fine tuning it that little, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the shoot. And remember, if you want to see the full extended one, go over to the members area.